Now on CoastTV News.
Georgetown water and sewer impact fee.
We can ask that developer to put in additional improvements.
What was discussed tonight in the town. DUI details. Court papers reveal the blood alcohol level of the woman who hit a J1 student in Rehoboth Beach, sending them to the hospital. Making way for boats.
There is less boatable water than I've ever seen.
Major dredging kicks off this week in Ocean City to clear clogged channels and protect the White Marlin Open.
This is CoastTV News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Brandon Ferguson. Welcome to CoastTV News at 11. Thank you for joining us. We begin tonight with active weather in the area as we take a live look into Ocean City and bring in our first alert chief meteorologist Paul Williams. Good evening, Paul.
Good evening. So we've been tracking some scattered showers, and actually we're more concerned about it possibly causing some localized flooding. We're starting to see the roads becoming a little bit hard to migrate. This is actually a view for us in Salisbury right now. Frequent lightning strikes actually being obtained at this point. We take a look at what's happening with the cell. The most active cell I see with the most intensity is really along Highway 13 between Lakewood and Seaford right now, and this is beginning to kind of evolve its way a little bit more towards the north and the northeast. As I track this particular cell coming out of Lakewood is moving towards the northeast pretty steadily, and so the path that it's moving right now expected to move into Kings Crossroads at about 11:36, Redden, then the Sand Hill community, and then Gravy Hill. Now we widen the scope a little bit. We have overall the flood watch is still in effect, including the Salisbury area as well as Cambridge, and so we've had a good deal of rain that's actually fallen throughout the night, ranging between up to maybe 1 inch in some areas and a little bit less in others. And here's a wider view of what we're talking about with this cell that's right now hovering over the Salisbury area. We've had stronger storms well to our north and well to our south, but as far as we're sandwiching between the two, we've actually caught a bit of slack for the night. Thus far, we've had just shy of an inch in Greenwood officially, and just over a half an inch in Georgetown, just shy of a half an inch in Laurel and Seaford. Milford coming in just over a quarter of an inch, along with Stockley, and Ellendale just shy of a quarter of an inch. Now, we are expecting more rounds of rain, and it's the cumulative effect that we're going to be most concerned with coming up into the next few days in a row. But for right now, back to you.
Thank you, Paul. An offshore wind project off of Maryland's coast has been delayed slightly by the federal government. The Environmental Protection Agency found an error in one of the permits issued to U.S. Wind. In a letter sent to the Maryland Department of Environment, the EPA highlights legal issues. It also states that MDA give people conflicting information on how to appeal the permit. Worcester County officials say this will by no means bring a swift end to the project, but they say they're happy they have a delay.
With the one big beautiful bill and some of the tax incentives, any delay we can get is going to help in terms of the construction tax credits that are at stake.
U.S. Wind says it's still committed to its proposed project, and that is confident that they, quote, all of our projects permits were validly issued. And over in Georgetown tonight, the town's council's in the early stages for a decrease for sewer and water impact fees for developers. This decrease will be granted only if the structure is being built benefits the town. The current rate sits at $7,400 per sewer and $1,599 for water. Georgetown's town manager believes that this will decrease the fee in Georgetown and it will benefit the town.
What it affords the town the ability to do is if we need improvements, like we have a sewer line that's going to run through one property and it's being developed, we can ask that developer to put in additional improvements, a deeper sewer depth or additional sized water lines, and as a trade-off, the town's willing to forego part of the impact fees.
We have new information about the J1 visa student who was hit by an underage drunk driver in Rehoboth Beach last week, leaving the J1 student in critical condition. The 21-year-old J1 student is out of the hospital after suffering life-threatening injuries. And in the police report, it claims that Megan Smith was 2 times over the legal limit when she hit the J1 visa student. According to officers on the scene, Smith had multiple alcoholic drinks in her car at the time of the crash. According to documents, the 20-year-old driver told first responders she had been drinking at the Purple Parrot earlier in the night and had used a fake ID. Her charge for that is a felony forgery charge. And new tonight, we know the J1 visa student was working at Zelke's Arcade, and the owner of Zelke's says she was heading home from her shift when she was hit. Her co-workers also created a GoFundMe to raise money for her hospital expenses, which has raised over $6,000. And this is important to note. According to the affidavit of probable cause, the passenger in the car with Megan Smith claimed he was in an Uber. But according to Uber's website, you cannot be a driver for the company if you're under 21. Megan Smith's preliminary hearing is set for this Friday at 9 a.m. And for our viewers who are not familiar, let's explain what a J1 student is. A J1 is a non-immigrant visa that allows people to come to the U.S. for educational and cultural exchange. Locally, many J1 workers are young students who work seasonal jobs at the beaches, like at arcades, amusement parks, and boardwalk shops. In their GoFundMe for the hit student, Zelke said fundraising was important because the student was far from home and had unexpected expenses now due to this accident. And we have more on this case, including a full list of charges right now on our website, CoastTV.com. Staying in Rehoboth Beach, we are now 3 days removed from a swimmer that went missing at the nation's summer capital. Yesterday morning, just after 11, that search was suspended, and the Rehoboth Beach Police Department was called to the beach Saturday night near Olive Avenue for the initial report of the missing swimmer. Both state police helicopters and the Coast Guard were involved in this search. And it is important to note that lifeguards were not actively on the beach when police say the swimmer went missing. In Rehoboth Beach, lifeguards are on duty from 9:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. on weekends. And on weekdays, lifeguards are on the beach from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And this brings us to our Coast TV poll. We want to know, when do you feel safest when swimming in the ocean? Let's take a look at the updated results from our 6 p.m. newscast. So far, 45% say never, with 38% saying near a lot of people. And if you want to continue to vote on this poll, you still can on our mobile app or on our website. And getting lifeguards back at Assateague Island National Seashore is a top priority for 2 Maryland lawmakers. The lack of staffing has been blamed on federal cuts at the National Park Service. U.S. Senators Chris Van Hollen and Angela Alsobrooks are urging vacant positions to be filled. A letter to the Department of the Interior National Park Service read in part, quote, "These ADHOC measures are unacceptable, and there is no substitute for attentive lifeguards specifically assigned to monitoring water safety at Assateague." It continues, MPS's current limited safety measures burden neighboring beach and safety and emergency response efforts, stretching services too thin. On the Virginia side, the town Chincoteague is asking Accomack County to enter a cost-share agreement with the national park. It would allow them to contract lifeguard services. A Worcester County official says they're looking at a similar model.
We initially tried to piggyback on the contract that Virginia used, but I don't think they have everything they need to operate in Maryland. So we're going to look at other opportunities.
Young says they may discuss the issues during tomorrow's Worcester County's commissioners' meeting. The emergency dredging project was supposed to start on July 21st near Ocean City, but it has been pushed up to this week. Starting Tuesday, the Merritt will begin dredging at the bay near West Ocean City and the inlet. They plan to remove about 7,500 cubic yards of material. While some people are excited for the project to begin, some boaters we spoke with off camera are skeptical, saying this sand will just fill back in or that the project isn't needed at all. But one boater disagrees, saying the sand has built up so much that he has experienced boaters getting stuck.
My neighbor down here has been a monster on the water for at least 15 years. And he got stuck the other day. First time ever.
Dredging is expected to start on Tuesday, and they'll be doing it in 12-hour shifts during the day. And just last week, a sailboat got stuck in that exact area they are planning to dredge. They were able to get off the sand safely, but for all the boats coming in early August for the White Marlin Open, this emergency dredging project could help others from getting stuck. In Worcester County, a new public parking lot is now open in Berlin on the corner of West Street and Washington Street. This grass lot has been transformed into open parking spaces for the downtown area. Some local businesses say they noticed customers struggling for parking ahead of this lot opening.
First little problem that I get to watch people circle the post office parking lot and not find a place to park. And then I wonder, as they leave the parking lot, did they leave town because they couldn't find a spot?
The lot is currently free, but council members say it will not always be this way. Town's council plans to meet this evening, where the parking committee is expected to give updates on that lot in Berlin tomorrow. And now to national news. America is on the verge of another housing collapse, possibly worse than the one in 2008. That's the warning from Rhode Island Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, one of the most outspoken members of Congress about the threat of climate change. His speech to the U.S. Senate follows our country's latest climate-amplified disaster, the deadly flooding in central Texas. Meteorologist Chase Kane sat down with him to talk about everything from the latest disaster to what's coming next.
Every week that the Senate has been in session for the last 13 years, Sheldon Whitehouse has given a speech urging Congress that it's time to wake up about climate change. Tonight will be the 300th time he's given that speech. One of them even included a live science experiment on the Senate floor.
I produce carbon dioxide as I exhale,
showing how climate change is impacting our oceans. But this address won't be a lesson, it's going to be a warning.
All across America, in wildfire country and along our coasts, those notices are coming through the mail slot. Notices of non-renewal. You're fired by your insurance company. Good luck getting new insurance. Your rates have doubled. Your rates have tripled. We're having a true homeowners insurance crisis. That is the leading edge of the climate threat that's coming at us.
Are we talking bigger than 2008 potentially?
I will tell you that the chief economist for the insurance giant Freddie Mac said that just the coastal insurance risk problem was likely to cascade into a mortgage problem, a real estate values problem. Since then, the wildfire risk evil twin has raised its head as well. So yeah, it's 2008 or worse.
And that's not just a warning from one senator. An independent analysis from First Street showed how climate stress is driving up the cost of home insurance from California and Colorado to Florida and in Texas, hit by the country's latest disaster amplified by climate change. In December, the Senate Budget Committee warned of an escalating insurance crisis from the West Coast to Louisiana and all the way up the East Coast. Last fall, an NBC News analysis found 1 in 8 Americans already don't have home insurance, in some cases risking generational wealth.
The warning signs are there, people having forced insurance policies that they can't afford.
Yep.
How close
$14,000 average insurance cost in Florida. I mean, there are people in Florida who cannot get insurance on their homes, which means that the next one will wipe them out. It's their biggest asset and it's uninsured. So this is really big economic stuff that's looming.
But Whitehouse told me he believes we can still prevent the worst, which is why he keeps giving these speeches.
I may be unduly optimistic, but I remain optimistic because once this comes home to roost in people's homes, in their family finances in really harmful ways, that's motivating in a way that we haven't seen before around this issue.
Yale and George Mason universities also just released new research this week showing an increasing number of Americans are worried about everything from wildfires to hurricanes, and they found that 2/3 of Americans understand that climate change is driving that extreme weather. In Washington, I'm meteorologist Chase Kane.
We are just getting started here on Coast TV News at 11. Coming up, the Texas search efforts continue after the deadly flooding.
Here's a look at your Bay forecast. We're looking for another round of rain for Tuesday. Really warm on Wednesday, then extremely warm on Thursday. Your full forecast in just 60 seconds. Well, the rain took its sweet time in getting here, right around, let's say, 9 to 10 o'clock for most of us, and now we're starting to kind of hear it on the rooftops at this point. Fortunately, because of that late arrival, we avoided the idea of dealing with some intense cells, but it's dropping plenty of water while it's stopping by. Ocean City, 80 degrees. We'll drop back to 76 with continuing showers for the rest of the night going into the early morning hours. Now, here's where we stand right now. We're at 73 degrees in Millsboro, Georgetown, Redden, 75 right now in Delmarva, and 72 currently in Laurel. Couple of numbers as far as the rainfall is concerned. In Greenwood, we had just shy of a full inch, over a half an inch, whereas in Georgetown, just shy of a half an inch, both in Laurel and Seaford, and that the rain is still tabulating as we speak, and close to a quarter of an inch, just a little above or below for Milford, Stokely, as well as Ellendale. Now, here's where the rain is right now. This trough is propagating and pushing these scattered showers across our region right here. Let me pull this over to the side here. So we were concerned that this line was going to create an opportunity for widespread scattered showers become problematic for us. Not so much. Now, we still have the active flood watch. Means we have ingredients to set up for flooding. And it makes sense because this is a slow-moving system, and as it begins to push through, it's not necessarily all that intense, or to simplify this even better, there's not a whole lot of deep red spots, okay? But it's a wide berth of the amount of rain that's sliding across at this present time, and we're expecting for it to continue. There are at least moderate showers over towards Ocean Pines at 2 o'clock, 2:30 in the morning. Then after that, we clear out going into Tuesday. Overnight, we'll stay in the 70s. With another one of our model runs, we're looking pretty clear for Tuesday with temperatures in the 80s. Now, we will still have a chance of a passing scattered shower or two along the coast for Tuesday. But keep in mind for tomorrow, it's going to be humid, possibly a little stormy briefly, not an all-day thing, okay? But 86, for example, for the high in Lewis. We should warm to about 87 in Easton as well as Cambridge. And then we'll get a chance to warm to about 85 degrees in Ocean City, 82 in Chincoteague. Our chances of rain elevated a little bit more for us on Wednesday, but we're at 44 to 39% for the first 2 days, down on Thursday, but right back up to near 70 by Friday. So Wednesday, widespread rain here. Thursday, light but still rain. And then Friday, we're looking for widespread scattered showers to stick around even going into Saturday and Sunday. So keep in mind that rain for Tuesday in Chincoteague might not stay around for Wednesday and Thursday, but we are expecting that rain on Tuesday. Ocean City, 2 days of rain, Tuesday and Wednesday, backing off on Thursday, but Thursday is going to be a very steamy, hot day where it's going to feel like 105 degrees in most locations or worse. Then in Lewis and Rehoboth, we're looking for scattered showers, possibly Tuesday and Wednesday for Rehoboth. Here's a look at your 7-day forecast, and man, Thursday is just going to be really uncomfortable. I'm going to put it that way. And then the rain comes back in style Friday going into the weekend.
Thank you, Paul. Search and rescue efforts are back on today after heavy rain and flooding hit parts of central Texas over the weekend. The storms temporarily halting efforts on Sunday because of the ongoing flood danger. And this after deadly floods swept through the hill country on the 4th of July. Ivan Rodriguez has the latest from Kerrville.
Search and recovery efforts are continuing today. The Kerr County Sheriff says he believes he'll continue going strong for the next 1 to 2 months and possibly up to 6 months. Commissioners in Kerr County also held their first regular scheduled meeting since the catastrophic flooding.
Heavy rain over the weekend complicating search and rescue efforts in central Texas.
The search continues. Unfortunately, we lost about half or 3/4 of a day yesterday to the river going up. But like I said, like y'all said, I've been assured by the governor and the president, we will have the resources to get the job done.
More than 2,000 people from multiple agencies are deployed to assist in the recovery efforts, according to the Kerr County Sheriff.
And search and rescue remains our top priority. But we've moved on to also include recovery. And that's where we had the people out in the river basin doing a lot of work. We're trying to get a handle on things. So just be patient with it as we go forward.
As the community grapples with the July 4th flooding that killed more than 130 people, including 27 campers and counselors at Camp Mystic in Hunt, Texas, messages of appreciation and concerns over rebuilding continue.
I would love to have the ability to understand where businesses can look for assistance. Ourselves, we lost several $1 million in this disaster, as well as everybody else.
This tragic event has proven the greatness of humanity. Please pray for the families who were affected. Thank you for blessing Kerr County with kind hearts and love of mankind.
It's been more than a week since a victim was found alive. Across the state of Texas, there are still nearly 100 people missing, 95 in Kirk County alone. In an update this afternoon, Governor Greg Abbott says nearly half of all states are providing resources to the state of Texas, but because of weather concerns, volunteers have no longer been asked to assist. In Kerrville, I'm Ivan Rodriguez.
A new study says climate change is helping fuel stronger and more destructive storms along the East Coast. The study examined nor'easters, which hit usually between September and April. Researchers at the University of Pennsylvania predict there will be fewer nor'easters as the globe gets warmer. But what is unclear is the intensity of these storms. The scientists studied nor'easters that happened between 1940 and 2025 and found more recent storms produced a 6% boost in wind speed. They say that increases a storm's destructive potential by 20%. Coming up, the Department of Justice wants to cut multilingual services. A new memo sent out today.
This is Coast TV News at 11.
We now know the identity of the person who drove off of the Delaware Memorial Bridge on Friday. The Delaware River and Bay Authority says on a bobtail tractor-trailer cab crossed 3 lanes on the bridge and smashed through a concrete wall. Recovery operations took days. Officials identified the driver as 35-year-old Zaire Mirzakov of Brooklyn, New York. What led up to the crash is still under investigation. Now to national news, the Justice Department has directed federal agencies to cut a number of multilingual services that they offer. Monday's memo comes months after President Trump signed an executive order that designated English as the official language of the U.S. The Justice Department says the effort to get rid of programs for people with limited English proficiency will help streamline federal processes. The agency says if a multicultural program is deemed necessary, then they should also use a note to stating English is the official language used by the government. Importers gave the Port of Los Angeles a major boost in June as they rushed to beat looming tariffs. The Port of Los Angeles saw a record-breaking cargo volume in June, up 32% from May. Importers were racing to get goods in before the July 9th tariff pause expired. Now, with a new deadline of August 1st, businesses are scrambling once again. President Trump's latest tariff plan includes steep hikes on goods from the EU, Canada, China, and more. The Department of Defense is teaming up with artificial intelligence companies to create the Chief Digital and Artificial Intelligence Office. Announced contracts with leading AI giants. Those include Google, OpenAI, and XAI. Each company is being given up to $200 million to help the agency adopt AI to address critical national security challenges. Coming up, housing market hesitation, how new interest rates are changing things up.
Here's a look at your Gulf forecast. We're expecting for the cloud cover to stick around, a chance of scattered showers. It's going to be a bit on the muggy side and humid with 87.
It's been 5 years since the pandemic home buying boom, and the mood among Americans looking to make a big move seems to be soaring. Karen Caifa is in Washington with a look at what potential buyers and sellers need to know right now.
Interest rates have pushed mortgage rates higher while home prices continue to climb in many parts of the country, leaving the housing market in a sticky situation.
The housing market's in a really unusual place right now. It's a strange combination of record high home prices and then very low home sales. And all of that's a hangover from the pandemic.
Bankrate housing market analyst Jeff Ostrowski says their research indicates more homeowners are hesitant to make a move.
The idea being they don't want to sell at a mortgage rate above 6% because that means they're going to have to go out and finance their next place at more than 6%.
Zillow senior economist Orphe Divingi says overall economic uncertainty is rattling the market too.
Remember, when people are uncertain about the future, their future income prospects, well, they tend to sit on their wallets.
And affordability is improving according to Zillow's data, but remains stretched.
The increase in prices, the increase in mortgage rates in the past few years really means that the typical buyer today really needs a lot more to be able to get into the house.
That means first-time buyers may have to make some trade-offs.
Maybe it's a townhouse, maybe it's a fixer-upper, maybe it's a place in a neighborhood that's not your first choice. But definitely this housing market has forced first-time buyers to make compromises.
And while potential home buyers may be nostalgic for the low mortgage rates of the pandemic era, Ostrowski says they're unlikely to return anytime soon. In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
We now take a live look into Salisbury, and after the break here on Coast TV News at 11, we have a final check on your forecast. Each Friday, you can share with a weekly dose of local good news from Coast TV. It's full of features, cool things to do each weekend, and more. You can sign up now for our Feel Good Friday newsletter at coasttv.com/signup.
Ocean view right now, we're starting to see the rain that's falling there at this point. We're at 79 degrees. Dew point temperature actually at 76. We're going to stay in the mid-70s as we still deal with the hit and miss scattered showers throughout the rest of the night into the early morning hours. We have an active flood watch for Dorchester as well as Wacomico. Now this is for places like Salisbury as well as over towards Cambridge, but also inclusive of Wango, Colburn, Libertytown, Whaleyville, as well as Pittsville. It's where the storms are right now, pushing across the region. And we're not looking at much developing behind it. Lori Palmer, our umbrella giveaway winner from Seaford. Congratulations, courtesy of Paul Davis Restoration. By the way, keep up with your forecast by calling our weather line, 443-880-9100. Your forecast is just a call away. Sponsored by the law offices of Bruxed, Mendalis, and Federico. Finally, here's a look at your exclusive 10-day forecast. More rain for Tuesday, Wednesday, very steamy on Thursday. Then we're back to being stormy and soggy Friday going into the weekend.
Thank you for that, Paul, and thanks for joining us here for Coast TV News at 11. For more news and local weather, download our Coast TV News app. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is up next. We'll see you tomorrow morning for Coast TV News at 5 a.m. Have a great night.